Assalamu alaikum, everybody. Inshallah, we're going to start the program. Kushali Mubarak. Inshallah, we're going to start with the recitation of Quran.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. يسبح لله ما في السماوات وما في الأرض، له الملك وله الحمد وهو على كل شيء قدير. هو الذي خلقكم فمنكم كافر ومنكم مؤمن، والله بما تعملون بصير. خلق السماوات والأرض بالحق وصوركم فأحسن صوركم وإليه المصير. يعلم ما في السماوات والأرض ويعلم ما تسرون وما تعلنون، والله عليم بذات الصدور. ألم يأتكم نبأ الذين كفروا من قبل فذاقوا وبال أمرهم ولهم عذاب أليم. ذلك بأنه كانت تأتيهم رسلهم بالبينات فقالوا أبشر يهدوننا فكفروا وتولوا واستغنى الله، والله غني حميد. زعم الذين كفروا أن لن يبعثوا، قل بلى وربي لتبعثن ثم لتنبؤن بما عملتم وذلك على الله يسير. فآمنوا بالله ورسوله والنور الذي أنزلنا، والله بما تعملون خبير. يوم يجمعكم ليوم الجمع، ذلك يوم التغابن. ومن يؤمن بالله ويعمل صالحا يكفر عنه سيئاته ويدخله جنات تجري من تحتها الأنهار خالدين فيها أبدا، ذلك الفوز العظيم. والذين كفروا وكذبوا بآياتنا أولئك أصحاب النار خالدين فيها وبئس المصير. ما أصاب من مصيبة إلا بإذن الله، ومن يؤمن بالله يهد قلبه، والله بكل شيء عليم. وأطيعوا الله وأطيعوا الرسول، فإن توليتم فإنما على رسولنا البلاغ المبين. الله لا إله إلا هو، وعلى الله فليتوكل المؤمنون. يا أيها الذين آمنوا إن من أزواجكم وأولادكم عدوا لكم فاحذروهم، وإن تعفوا وتصفحوا وتغفروا فإن الله غفور رحيم. إنما أموالكم وأولادكم فتنة، والله عنده أجر عظيم. فاتقوا الله ما استطعتم واسمعوا وأطيعوا وأنفقوا خيرا لأنفسكم، ومن يوق شح نفسه فأولئك هم المفلحون. إن تقرضوا الله قرضا حسنا يضاعفه لكم ويغفر لكم والله شكور حليم عالم الغيب والشهادة العزيز الحكيم صدق الله العلي العظيم.
Thank you so much for that beautiful recitation. All right, so the next thing that we have is, inshallah, we're going to do a short quiz on Imam Ali. And hopefully lots of you will be used to these types of quizzes now, given our new virtual life. But I'm just going to share my screen, so hopefully you can see. It is a Kahoot quiz. So what you need to do in order to log into this quiz and participate is go to either, if you have the Kahoot app, you can use that, or you can join in on a website. You just need to go for www.kahoot.it and then type in this pin, and it will essentially take you to the Imam Ali quiz. Excellent. So we've got loads of people joining already. We've got Ayla, Abu Dua family, Ali Hashim, Musa, K Cubed, Ali and FZ, Bilal, Zora, Mariam.
Wait, I'm trying to join in. So, what do I do?
Okay, so go to the website www.
One moment.
.it. Yeah, you should be able to see the website here.
www.kahoot.it.
Kahoot.
Yeah, Kahoot.
.it.
IT.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then type in the code that you can see on the screen. So 3850562. So we've got loads of people joining. Awesome.
With a slash. Do I have a slash?
Sorry, where no slash.
Okay, just 385
0562.
Now first go to the website and then press enter, and then you type in the number.
Oh, I see.
Oh, sorry. Did I not make that clear? Thanks, Kamal. Awesome. We've got 40 people who have joined. This is awesome. Oh, it's just gone to 39, but that's all right. Still good to see. I'll give it one more minute for anyone else joining. Fatma Kaki, let me know if you're still having problems.
No, I'm just trying to join in.
Excellent. Okay, we're back up to 40. Awesome. Okay, let's get started. All right, so the first few questions are going to be nice questions about Imam Ali's family, inshallah. So let's get started. If anyone else is joining, all right, we've still got a couple of people joining, so I'm just going to maybe wait 10 seconds. The code will actually still be there, so you can join us when we've started as well. All right, excellent. Let's get going. So, as I said, the first couple of questions are about Imam Ali's family. So, question number 1, what is the name of Imam Ali's father? So, if you think it's Abdul Muttalib, you need to tap the red one, the red thing that you should see on your phone. Abu Talib is blue, Abdullah yellow, or Hamza green. "13 seconds, we've got 39 answers, so we're just waiting on a couple more. 40, 41 answers, 2 seconds remaining. Awesome, excellent. So Abu Talib was the correct answer. Right, so let's see now. Also, by the way, you're judged on speed. So the quicker you answer a question, the more points you'll get. So who have we got? We've got Ali and FZ at the start, Yusuf Ali in second place, tying YYH, and then Abu Dua family and Kotha in 4th and 5th place. Right, next question. Again, it's still on Imam Ali's family. So what was the name of Imam Ali's mother? Was it Khadija bint Khuwailid, Amina, Halima, or Fatima bint Asad? Remember, speed is key to getting points. And also answering lots of right questions in a row. For 44 answers, so I think we're waiting for 1 or 2 more. 3 seconds remaining, so quickly make sure you get your answers in. Excellent. So most of us got it right. The answer was Fatima bin Asad. Okay, it wasn't Amina. All right, so Fatima bin Asad. Excellent. Ali and FZ still at the top, but we've got some changes. So YYH still second. But Mu'mins, Ali Hashim and Co. and M. Mahdi have come right up. Okay, next question. Again, still staying on the theme of family. So how was Imam Ali related to Prophet Muhammad? Was he a cousin, son-in-law, brother, or nephew? And I've been nice here because there are 2 correct answers. So you can get points for either one of them. You don't have to tap both. 12 seconds remaining. And okay, so most people said cousin, but also son-in-law. So well done for both of those. All right, good stuff. Next question. Okay, so we're now moving on to a saying. All right. Oh, forgot to go our scoreboard. Ali Hashim and Co. moved up. And Sarah, you're on a streak. 3 correct answers. So good stuff. You're on fire. Okay. So complete the saying by Prophet Muhammad. I am the city of knowledge and Ali is. So to help you out in Arabic, it is Ana Madinatul Ilm wa Aliyun Babuha. What does that mean? So it's Babuha that you're looking for in English. So is it mosque, path, gate, or leader? 7 seconds remaining. Got 1 or 2 people still need to answer. Awesome. Okay, 38. The answer is indeed gate. Well done. Have we got to change it up? This leaderboard looks the same. So Prophet Muhammad essentially brought loads of knowledge about Islam and about how to get closer to Allah. So this could mean maybe that Imam Ali helps to understand, can help us to understand the teachings of Prophet Muhammad. Right, next question. Which of these books is a collection of sayings and sermons from Imam Ali? Is it the Nahj al-Balagha, Sahifat al-Sajjadiyah, Risalat al-Huquq, or Sahifat al-Alawiyah? Okay, so we got 42 answers. Again, just waiting on a couple more with 10 seconds remaining. Excellent. The answer is indeed Nahj al-Balagha. So no one picked the Sahifat al-Alawiyah, but by the way, that is also a book of du'as by Imam Ali. Right, 6 players just hit answer trick 3, but the top scores are looking pretty similar. Okay, next question. It's another quote. So complete the quote. For whomever I am there, Ali is also there something. Is it Nabi, Imam, Hadi, or Mawla? So this is another quote by Prophet Muhammad. What did Prophet Muhammad say? Very famous quote. We say it a lot. Excellent. The answer is indeed Mawla. So this is when Prophet Muhammad called all the Muslims together and said, for whomever I am, their Mawla, Ali is their Mawla. So Mawla meaning master. And Ali Hashim has moved right up. And Isa A and Ali H have come up to the leaderboard as well. Tough round. Says 3 players lost their answer streak of 5. Okay, next question I think is related to the last question. At which event did Prophet Muhammad say the previous quote? Okay, so when did he say, essentially, for whomever I am the Mawla, Ali is also the Mawla? Was it at the Treaty of Hudaybiyah? Was it Ghadir Qum? Was it Hijrah or the Battle of Uhud? Okay, 10 seconds. Excellent. Ghadir Qum. All right. Awesome. Obviously, this is the event that Prophet Muhammad declared Imam Ali as his successor, celebrate it with Eid al-Ghadir. Right, so we've got YYH who have come up, Isa A who has come up, and M Mahdi who has also come up. Excellent. All right, next question. In the Nahj al-Balagha, Imam Ali highlights 3 different types of worshippers. What are they? Now, just to give you a clue, okay, so Imam Ali said, verily, some people worshipped Allah for his reward. So what are those worshippers? Some people worshipped Allah fearing his punishment. And some people worshipped Allah for his gratitude. Okay, so essentially they are worshippers explaining the 3 of those. So worshipping Allah for his reward, worshipping Allah for his punishment, and fearing his punishment, or worshipping Allah for his gratitude. "20 seconds left. So is it trader, slave, freeman, cow, donkey, human, priest, beggar, elder, trader, farmer, and leader? I think we've got 1 or 2 people remaining to answer. Excellent. Okay, most people got it right. Excellent. It is trader, slave, or freeman. So the worshipper. So worship of traders, worship of the slave, and worship of the freeman is what he calls them. Right. Oh, we had quite a lot of moving there. So YYH have moved straight into first position. And Mahdi, who I'm guessing is Muhammad Mahdi, moved up a lot. And Ayla is up into the scoreboard too. Well done. Right, next question. What is the Islamic date for Imam Ali's birthday? So today, what is it? Or tomorrow, today is the night. So what is the Islamic date for Imam Ali's birthday? Is it 13th Shaban, 15th Shaban, 13th Rajab, or 15th Jamad al-Akhir? Remember, speed is key in getting points. 7 seconds remaining. Excellent. Most people got it right. Some people fell for the trick. So it's 13th Rajab. Excellent. Nice one. Right. Have we got any move? Ooh. Oh, someone just got removed from the leaderboard. We've got Ali and FZ now in first place and M Mahdi second. All right, and Ayla's moving up as well. And welcome Abbas Loves first. Right, next question. Imam Ali wrote a letter to the governor of Egypt about how to treat the people of Egypt justly. What was his name? So what is the name of the Egyptian governor, essentially, at the time? And this letter is really, it's a really important, it's a letter that we study now. Tell you a bit about it in a second, as soon as we've got our answers in. So did he send it to Salman al-Farsi, Malik al-Ashtar, Kamal ibn Ziyad, or Maytham al-Tammar? Excellent, most people got it. So he sent a letter to Malik al-Ashtar, his companion, who served as the governor of Egypt, and the letter advises Malik al-Ashtar how to treat people of Egypt justly. It's come to actually be seen as a model of just Islamic governance, and how to rule in the best way. So really important letter. Ayla has gone up, and Bilal has made it into the leaderboard. Welcome, Bilal. Right, next question. And 3 in a row. Zora is back in the game. Well done, Zora. Right, next question. So within this letter, there is the famous quote. So you need to fill in the gap. Man is either your brother in faith or your equal in something. You may remember this quote from the Salam Center videos. Now you know where it comes from. I think I've had this quote a lot of times in the Salam Center videos. Couple more to answer. So is it equal in life, humanity, faith, or honor? Excellent. Most people got it right. So humanity indeed. Good stuff. Right. Oh, well done. Welcome to the Muhammads. All right. And Ali and Asad staying in first place. Right. Who killed Imam Ali? Was it Yazid, So red for Yazid, blue, Amr bin As, yellow, Ibn Muzam, or green, Muawiyah. Four seconds left. Excellent. Oh, pretty much everyone got that right apart from one person, so well done. All right, Ibn Mujam stabbed Imam Ali in the back during Salah with a poisonous sword. Welcome YY8. All right, you made it into the leaderboard. And 5 players have reached answer streak of 4. Nice one. Where is Imam Ali buried? Is it Najaf, Kufa, Damascus, or Medina? So red for Najaf, blue for Kufa, yellow is Damascus, or green for Medina. So we're waiting on 1 or 2 more answers. 1 second. Excellent. Most people again got it right. Najaf in Iraq. Right. Next question. Up 4 places. Abu Dwa family is the highest climber. Well done. All right, but the scoreboard is looking pretty similar to the last one. Right. When did Imam Ali die? Was it the 19th of Ramadan, the 21st of Ramadan, the 13th of Rajab, or the 27th of Safar? For those of you that are on YouTube, by the way, I hear there's quite a lag. So if you come onto the Zoom, you will get better, you'll be in time. Excellent. 21st Ramadan. So again, almost everyone got that right. So this night in Ramadan is also one of the potential nights of Qadr, and we recite the beautiful munajat of Imam Ali. If you'd like to listen to it on this night, you can check out Yusuf Nur Muhammad's recitation from last Ramadan on our YouTube page. And it's a really beautiful dua. And the next question is related to Imam Ali's munajat. But yeah, the scoreboard is looking pretty much the same. So let's look at the question. So what's the definition of Anta al-Khaliqu wa ana al-Makhluq? So again, this is a line from Imam Ali's from the munajat of Imam Ali, something that we usually recite on the 21st of Ramadan. So is that you are the sustainer, I am the sustained. You are the creator, I am the created. You are the high, I am the low. Or you are the owner and I am the owned. Obviously, that's talking to Allah. Excellent. Most people got it right again. So it means you are the creator and I am the created. Okay, let's see. Did that change? Oh, it did. It changed the scoreboard. So Abbas loves Spurs is now in 2nd place. Muhammad is back in the scoreboard, and YYH has moved back up as well. Right. And Shabzi has the highest answer streak of 15. Nice. Okay, maybe make it to the leaderboard next. Where was Imam Ali born? So is it in Masjid al-Nabawi, in the Kaaba, in Prophet Muhammad's house, or in the cave of Hira? Six seconds left. Awesome. Okay, everyone got that right apart from 2. So in the Kaaba, let's see if it had an impact on. No, it didn't. Okay, but up 3 places. Zora, you're the highest climber. Nice one. Okay, next question. After which of these acts by Imam Ali was a Quranic verse revealed? Was it after he married Bibi Fatima, after being born in the Kaaba, after giving charity in Ruku, or after giving charity in the night? So just the night time. Five seconds remaining. Okay, most people got it right again. Indeed, it is giving charity in ruku. So Imam Ali was known for giving charity, and giving charity is one of the most important good deeds we can do. So one day a beggar entered the mosque and asked for help, but no one gave him anything. So he raised his hands towards the sky and said, "Oh God, witness that I asked for help in the mosque of your prophet and no one gave me anything." When he said this, Imam Ali was performing ruku in prayer and gave the man his ring. And Surah Ma'idah, verse 55, is said to have been revealed following this event, it's about the importance of praying and giving zakat. Okay, so let's see if it affected the scoreboard. It did. Muhammad Mahdi is in the running again. I can't remember who we got rid of. And up 5 places, the Mu'mins. Nice. Okay, so in Sermon 179 of Nahj al-Balagha, how does Imam Ali say he sees God? Okay, so just to give you a bit of a backstory, so in the sermon, a companion asked Imam Ali if he sees God, and Imam Ali says, "Would I worship a God that I do not see?" But the companion asked him, "How do you see God?" All right, so how does he see God? Does he say he sees God with his eyes, with his soul, with his heart, or with his glasses? Okay, most people got it right. Excellent. It is with his heart. So Imam Ali says he sees with the eyes of his heart. There were no movers, but Shabzi has the highest answer streak of 18. Nice one. Okay, next question. In which battle was Imam Ali one of the few who remained in position on the mountain as instructed by Prophet Muhammad? So this was when the Prophet told the Muslims to remain in position on the mountain, whatever happens, to protect against the Meccans. And when it looked like the battle was won, some of the men left their positions to get the war booty, but they hadn't been told to leave their positions. And this allowed the Meccans to attack from behind and then actually win the battle. So was it the Battle of Khandaq, the Battle of Khaybar, the Battle of Uhud, or the Battle of Badr? We've got, I think, 1 or 2 people left to answer. Given a bit of time to think about this, but many of you have answered quickly, so that's good stuff. Okay, nice one. It was indeed the Battle of Uhud. Oh, Ali and FZ on fire. Ayla is now in 2nd place. It's changed quite a few people. YYH in 3rd, Muhammad Mahdi in 4th, and Kauthar 1 has come to the leaderboard. And Ali and FZ have a streak of 19 answers in a row. Nice one. And at the top. Okay, so a group of people turned against Imam Ali after the Battle of Siffin. Who are they? So these people, they were fighting with Imam Ali, but then turned against him after the battle. And actually, Ibn Muljam, who went on to kill Imam Ali, was someone from this group of people. So was it the Bani Hashim, the Khawarij, Bani Umayyah, or the Abbasids? And this is the last question, so it is potentially a decider. Nice one. It was indeed the Khawarij. So let's see how that has affected the scores. So in 3rd place, we have YYH. Nice. 20 out of 20, we have Ayla. Nice. And another 20 out of 20, we have, who's won it? Ali and FZ. Awesome. Congratulations. And in 4th place, we have Muhammad Mahdi. And in 5th, we have Kauthar 1. Awesome. Thank you so much for joining for the Khushali quiz. I'm going to stop sharing my screen. Well done. And I think the next thing that we have is a qasida by Muhammad Dati. So I will pass it on to him.
Rahmatullah, As'adallah Ayyamakum, and many congratulations to you all on the birth of the commander of the faithful, Amir al-Mu'mineen Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salam. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. مولا علی کا نام لیے جا رہا ہوں میں، مولا علی کا نام لیے جا رہا ہوں میں، توصیف اہل بیت کیے جا رہا ہوں میں، محفل میں آج جمع ہے محبان اہل بیت، محفل میں آج جمع ہے محبان اہل بیت، بھر بھر کے ان کو جھام دیے جا رہا ہوں میں، مولا علی کا نام لیے جا رہا ہوں میں، دشمن کا خوف اور نہ خطرہ بلاؤں کا، دشمن کا خوف اور نہ خطرہ بلاؤں کا، ناد علی کا ورد کیے جا رہا ہوں میں، مولا علی کا نام لیے جا رہا ہوں میں، دامن علی کا مومنوں چھوٹے نہ ہاتھوں سے، دامن علی کا مومنوں چھوٹے نہ ہاتھوں سے، تم سب کو یہ پیام دیے جا رہا ہوں میں، مولا علی کا نام لیے جا رہا ہوں میں، یہ فیض مصطفیٰ کا مرتضیٰ کا ہے، یہ فیض مصطفیٰ کا کرم مرتضیٰ کا ہے، ذرے کو آفتاب کیے جا رہا ہوں میں، مولا علی کا نام لیے جا رہا ہوں میں، توصیف اہل بیت کیے جا رہا ہوں میں، افضل الصلاة والسلام عليك يا رسول الله محمد وآل محمد، صلوات صلوا على محمد.
Thank you so much for that beautiful recitation. Next in the program, we are privileged to be joined by Shaykh Ahmed Haneef. Shaykh attended York University and McMaster University. While at university, he was involved in the Black Power struggles in the 1970s and anti-racism and apartheid struggles of the 1980s. He accepted Islam in 1982 and pursued his Islamic Studies in the Holy City of Qom. He studied in Qom for over 12 years, where he graduated in the higher Islamic subject. His main subject areas of study are fiqh, principles of law, tafseer, Islamic history, Irfaan, and Islamic philosophy. He has written and published a number of articles on Islam and has worked on the translation of al-Mizan. So I'm very happy to introduce Shaykh Ahmed Haneef. Over to you. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. I think you're on mute, Shaykh.
Yes, thank you very much. Thank you very much. And I would like to give you all a warm welcome of salam, a salam of joy upon this illustrious occasion of the birth of our first Imam, Imam Ali Abi Talib, alhamdulillah, rabbil alameen. And I would like to give my hope and my prayers that especially in this time that we live in, that we are inspired by his teachings, his example of his life, and we are encouraged to fight the ignorance that pervades us today. The topic I'd like to talk about today is what seems to be a contradiction in Imam Ali alayhi salam's view of the world. What I mean is many times when the Imam alayhi salam speaks of the world, he speaks of the world in a negative way, in a very negative way. He speaks of the world as, for example, it's not worth any more to him than the sneeze of a goat, for example. And we have heard all of these types of things, for example, the world is not worth his sandals, okay? It's not as worthy as his own sandals that he was patching at the time when somebody came to him. But the apparent contradiction is that he also defends the world. You know, he also speaks good of the world. Unfortunately, the amount of times that this is mentioned in many of the ahadith are much less than that of the condemning of the world. And I guess that can be attributed to the fact that us living in this world today, that requires more of an emphasis than the other one. But nevertheless, a contradiction it seems to be. So what I'd like to do is to discuss this, to analyze it, and see whether it's truly a contradiction or not, and what kind of lessons we can learn from this, this understanding. Now remember, you know, in the time of Imam Ali, by the time he became the Caliph, the Muslim empire had grown quite large and rich. The Umayyads had seen to that. The Umayyads, for all their badness, they were quite efficient administrators and planners. You know, and there are some people who say that, you know, it was providence that God let them come into, you know, prominence to enact this foundation building of the Muslim empire and the Muslim rule that was to take place and the influence it was supposed to have in such a short period of time. And you know, whether or not this might be true, the feasibility of it or the possibility of it can be probably traced back to, let's say, the devil, if you want to be so harsh, the shaitan. You know, here the shaitan is disobeying Allah on his own, with his own will. But at the same time, in doing so, he is fulfilling a divine good for mankind, for us, in the sense that we need a foil, we need a resistance, we need a challenge to our belief in God, you know, in order to prove our worth, in order to prove ourselves. You know, there's nothing more destroying to a human being than no challenge. You know, there's nothing more destroying than that. you know, where you cannot develop. We develop against resistance. You know, and he provided that, you see. And then the story of Khizr, for example, where Khizr is outwardly doing things that are condemnable, you know, but it fulfills a particular divine, you know, cause. At any rate, the Muslim world was quite large and rich. Money was flowing. And of course, along with the wealth came more worldliness and more, you know, all of the negative things that went with that. And in contrast to all of this, Imam Ali alayhi salam, as you know, lived quite simply and frugally and urged his followers to do the same. So we get this impression that Imam Ali alayhi salam is an ascetic, that he is against pleasure, for example, you know, that he is against wealth, you know, that he's against, that the world as an entity itself is something bad. But when we look at some of the occasions under which he did these types of things, you start realizing that it's within a particular context. For example, he is quoted to describe the world as worth less than bitter gall nuts, you know, and this was prompted by an incident where the Imam Ali's governor in Basra, you know, Uthman ibn Hunayf al-Ansari, had participated in a very lavish wedding celebration with rich hosts and so forth, you know, and Imam Ali alayhi salam reprimanded his governor for this, you know, and in this letter, urging Uthman, who is a representative of the Caliph, who is a frugal man and so forth, Imam Ali alayhi salam said to him, follow my example, and look, this world is what it is. It is less worthy to me than bitter gall nuts. So the world that he is talking about is a social situation, a class situation, one can even call it that. You know, a situation of the privileged over the unprivileged. This is the world that he refuses to be part of. This is the world that to him is not worth even bitter gall nuts. And we all are aware of the story of Aqil ibn Abi Talib, you know, one of his own family, who, having many children to provide for, became destitute, and he implored Imam Ali alayhi salam to take some, to borrow, not even to take, to borrow some money out of the state treasury, you know, to help tide things over. Now, why did he come with this plan, with this idea? It is because this was the way of the time. Remember, Imam Ali alayhi salam is coming after the reign of Uthman ibn Affan. And in the reign of Uthman ibn Affan, which coincides with Muawiyah's rule in Syria, it was a reign that was, you know, peppered with nepotism and bribery and so on. In fact, this was the reason why he was overthrown. You know, so here Aqil is coming with a kind of a norm. You see, and I'm sure a lot of our brothers know that, because as soon as you leave this country and in some of these Middle Eastern countries, you go, bribery is the norm. As it was then, it is today, you see. And Imam Ali alayhi salam denied him the request. You know about this. And it is said that, you know, Imam Ali alayhi salam brought a fiery iron rod close to Aqil. And Aqil screamed in pain and fear. You know, this rod, it comes straight out of the fire, you know, and Imam Ali alayhi salam said to him, do you scream from the pain of an iron rod heated by a human being for sport, while you drag me into the fire stoked by the powerful one, Al-Qawi, to punish those who have incurred his wrath? You're going to scream for what I do to you when you think you can't scream for what Allah's wrath is going to do for you? Do you scream from pain while expecting me not to scream from the flames of hell? You want to pull me into embezzlement. You know, you want to pull me into betraying my social trust and my responsibility by reaching into the public funds to help you. That's what basically is saying. You know what the consequence of this will be? And, you know, many of us talk about the essence of isma, of being ma'asum, or infallibility. You know, are the imams born with it? You know, or you know, do they, like us, fight against it? You know, or are they just immune from committing evil? You see, here Imam Ali alayhi salam is giving us a glimpse as to where that isma comes from. It comes from knowledge. It comes from knowledge, because every action that we do in this world has a correspondent manifestation in the next world. And that manifestation in a collective sense is what we call the fire of hell. And they know this, you see. I think we, in a sense, share in some isma by virtue of the fact that there are some certain silly things or dangerous things we might not do, because we know the consequence of it too well. You know, nobody can tell us, for example, to go and stand in the middle of a busy 4-lane highway, right? You would never do something like this, because you have isma. Your intelligence, your knowledge of the consequence of this thing prevents you from doing this on an intellectual level. So here Imam Ali as-salam again is showing Aqil this hostility, the fact that what this dunya is, what this world is that they are inhabiting. Then we have another one, you know, where he talks about the world was worth less to him as a leaf being chewed in the mouth of a locust. Okay, a leaf being being chomped or chewed in the mouth of a locust. And again, it's the same, you know, context of the world as being the interaction between human beings on a negative basis. So Imam Ali recounts this to Aqil, you know, because somebody had brought him a gift, wanted to give him a gift. And this was by some person who wanted to most likely give this gift to the Imam as a prologue or precursor to getting him to do something for him. And this is where Imam Ali alayhi salam says, this world is no more than a leaf being chewed in the mouth of a locust. Now, what we see then is that the world, the dunya as we call it, when we call it in a negative sense, from the mouth of Imam Ali alayhi salam, is a dunya of relationships between people in this world. Now, when we look at the words of praise the Imam had for the world, there was a very popular one. It's in the Nahj al-Balagha. I can't exactly remember what address it is in there, but it is, you know, in praise of the world. I think it comes under a heading. He says, "Oh, you who reproach this world," because he overheard somebody. He overheard a man saying this world is a bad place. You know, I don't like this world. This world is so unfair, as some people would say. The world is so unfair, all right? You know, and he said, "Oh, you who reproach this world, while being so willingly deceived by her deceptions and tricked by her falsehoods. Do you choose to be deceived by her yet censor her? Aha. A person who reproaches the world, the dunya in the objective sense in this case, all right? The world as a physical entity, the world as a living entity, okay? The universe on an objective level, he is saying that that person who censures the world is somebody themselves who are deceived by the world. Okay? And you get deceived by the world by going after the world as an ultimate goal, as a final goal, as a highest goal. That's when you're deceived by the world. So he says, "Oh, you who reproach this world while being so willingly deceived by the deceptions and tricks and by her falsehoods." And this is, if you look at people who say, this world is so unfair, think about it. This world is so unfair. That this world is so unfair is usually a very subjective case that they're talking about. When they say this world is so unfair, it means their series of failures, their series of calamities in life, their own personal series of calamities in life, leads them to say this. But by and large, he's saying that you let yourself get into this point. You let yourself be deceived by this world. You let yourself fall in love with the wrong guy and marry the wrong guy, because what was important to you was something worldly. Where the Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, for example, your best spouse to choose for you is a mu'min, a believer. You chose, for example, whatever it might be, ethnic compatibility, whatever. I want my grandma to be able to talk to her grandchildren in Urdu. You see what I'm saying? You choose a particular choice, and then you get the wrong guy, for example, and you did it repeatedly. You could say the world, the world is so unfair. Okay? What he's saying there is that there is an ego type of issue that comes around, because the world is at worst, how should I say, neither good or bad. The world is just the world, okay? And at best, and in truth, the world is a place of good. The world is a good thing. Allah created it. Okay, so continuing, I'm not going to read the whole sermon or speech. I will just give you some examples. So he describes this person who is saying this, or to this person, and he's talking about, for example, his grandparents and close members of his family, his mother and so on, being sick and so on. He said, on that fateful morning, your medicines did not suffice them. Your weeping did not help, and your apprehension was of no benefit. Your appeal remained unanswered, and you could not push death away from them, although you applied all your strength. This is what is the best example of the world being unfair, of the world not being nice. You are confronted with death. Best example. And when we look at death, Allah teaches us about death. Death is a departure from this world, but an emergence into the next. The departure of a baby from the mother's womb is a death to that womb, and an opening into a world it had no idea existed. But you are more concerned about fighting away death. Not that you shouldn't, but you should also be ready to accept it. He says, by this, meaning death, the world warned you of your own approaching end. The world warned you that you would die too. She illustrated by their death your own. Indeed, this world is a house of truth for whomsoever stays true to her, a house of well-being for whomsoever understands her, a house of riches for whomsoever gathers her provisions, a house of counsel for whomsoever takes her advice. She is a masjid for Allah's loved ones, a place where Allah's angels pray, where Allah's revelation is descended, where Allah's saints, his awliya, transact, earning his mercy and profiting paradise. This is the place what we do it. We, the awliya of Allah, the ones who see God as their friend, they use this earth as a place to make what? Spiritual transactions. Okay? Meaning, oh Allah, I do this for paradise. This is a transaction. I do this to be close to you. This is the place where they choose to do that. This is the place where the loved ones of Allah make sajda upon its surface. This is the place where you gather your provisions for the next life. This is what this world is. So it is a good place. Even death is a lesson for us. And death is a lesson for us, brothers and sisters, because we are in the realm of becoming. This is not the realm of actualization. Actualization, the realm of actualization is the realm of perfection. This is a spiritual realm. Perfection cannot be found in the material world. The material world is always in a stage of transition in itself, and also transition from its realm. Everything dies in this world. And we, as part of this world, have an aspect of ourselves that die with it, that dies with it, and that is the physical body. But as the potential khulafatullah fil ard, we are we have something greater than ourselves, you know, and that's our spirits and our souls. And so he is defending the world from this person's condemnation of it. He says, who would blame her when she has honestly declared her imminent separation? He shows you. She shows you everything is separating. Everything is going away. One thing goes before the other, you know, but everything dies, everything disappears. New things come and the old things go. She proclaimed her impending departure and announced her own and her people's looming destruction. She has illustrated by her trials the terrible trial of the fire. She has illustrated by her trials the terrible trial of the fire, that whatever suffering you have in this world, it is a precursor to the suffering of the akhirah. The suffering of the akhirah, because of the world, is not something unknown or inconceivable. And because of this, all human beings hope to escape from this realm of suffering into the realm of paradise. Unfortunately, in our time of increased disbelief in God, that paradise is now becoming something what you call the subject of a type of study called transhumanism, where they start thinking about the next level of human evolution is the interference or the interface between cyber or the robots and human beings. This is how they're starting to see themselves. You know, not in terms of a higher level of being, but in terms of a more mechanized level of being. That immortality lies in being synthesized by the things of the world, not knowing that those very same things that they try to synthesize themselves, those things are also going away, disappearing, because this is the nature of the world. He says, she has illustrated by her trials the terrible trial of the fire, and awakened by her delights a desire for the abundant delights of paradise. In the evening, she leaves you healthy and happy, only to arrive the next morning with an awesome calamity, because the interface, the flip side of every suffering is a pleasure, and every pleasure is a suffering. So when we look at these hadith and see them in their context, because this particular hadith, for example, was also done by somebody who was one of the soldiers, according to one of the narrations about the origin of this oration, where they were in a very tough time. They were experiencing a very tough time. And this is what Imam Ali alayhi salam said. So the evil of this world is our eyes that see the evil. And that is evil when it is in an objective sense. That is when it's not evil, really. Like death. Death is not something evil. Okay? But our eyes see it as evil. You know, and this is one of the criteria of evil that the philosophers talk about. You know, that kind of evil that is rooted in the nature of existence itself, or physical existence itself, is something metaphysical. It is not really an entity. It is like, for example, the relationship of light to darkness. Darkness is the absence of light. It is not the presence of darkness. For example, it's impossible to devise a torch that shines darkness. You can only devise a torch that shines light, because darkness is a negative reality. And that's a contradiction, actually, negative reality. But I think you understand what I'm talking about. It's something negative, it's not something positive. You know, if you look at ignorance, for example, ignorance is an evil. You know, we all try to stamp out ignorance, but ignorance is the absence of knowledge. It is not the presence of ignorance. You know, there's no such thing as a knowledgeable person who doesn't have any ignorance, for example. It is just the limitations of being. This being in this world today cannot approximate the being of the absolute. And therefore, that lack of not being the absolute, that is what causes evil. It's a very beautiful hadith by Imam Ali alayhi salam. You know, where he talks about the mu'mineen, and he said they planted the seeds of their sins in front of their eyes and watered them with their tears, and they were successful. You know, meaning they looked at their own evils and reminded themselves of it, you know, and, you know, vowed to stay away from it. So our world sees objective evil like that, but it's not really evil. It's the limitations of the good. It's the limitations of the good things that Allah has made, and this is inherent in their very definition themselves. You know, the other evil is moral evil. The other evil is moral evil, and moral evil is when somebody does something deliberately bad. And moral evil is the only evil that can approximate some kind of reality, because human beings can make this so. And how human beings made this so goes back to what Imam Ali alayhi salam's point of view on the dunya is. Okay, the dunya, the negative dunya, the dunya that he condemns, is not the actual outside world, the physical outside world. The dunya he condemns is the temptation of the outside physical world upon the psyche of someone. Okay, that is what the dunya is. It is a psychological world, by and large a psychological world, rather than a completely physical one. You know, I take, for example, something simple as being attracted to food. Okay, something being attracted to food. Okay, now your body needs the food. That's your relationship with the outside world. Your body needs the food. And when you're hungry, for example, what you do is you imagine something you'd like to eat. You know, we say, I feel this for this. You imagine something you like to eat, and you go and you buy it and you eat it. That imagination, that ability to transform a physical need to an imaginative one, that is the psychosocial world or the psychophysical world that we inhabit. This is the dunya. You know, and it's very important because the world is according to how we see it. The world is according to how we see it, you know, and how we are, you know. So if we are evil people, we see the world in an evil place. If somebody is a habitual liar, they think everybody is lying to them. You know, if a person is a rip-off artist, they're afraid of other rip-off artists. They're afraid of innocent people who would not be rip-off artists, but they think they are. The world appears to you the way you see it. And this is exactly the world that we go into after we die. That world that we constructed in our minds based upon our activity. And this is the kind of dunya, this is the thing that actually hurts us and so forth. This is rooted in what the Buddha is saying, you know, where he says suffering is based upon desire. So suffering is based upon desire. Okay? We would add wrong desire. You see? And it is only a human being. It's only a human being that can create then in a certain sense, that can create in a certain psychic sense, an evil that is objective. Take, for example, Nazism, or take, for example, apartheid, or take, for example, the era of chattel slavery in the United States. In these three situations, it was actually a system that created a particular type of perception in the mind of people towards the world, in which, in this case, towards inter-ethnic relations, that led to the emergence of a kind of irreality of evil that permeates itself in human relationships. That's another point. You know, when we talk about being affected by the dunya, if we put aside the natural quote unquote evils that we experience, like death and sickness and so forth, which we realize are not really evils, you know, if we put aside that and we look at the actions of human beings, only human beings could actually create something that is a kind of a virtual evil in the world for people, that is tangible enough for people to touch and for people to believe in. So only human beings can create this. In our society today, I think we have to ask that question. You know, what are the programs and what are the thoughts that are given to us, like they used to give them in Nazi Germany through their propaganda, that are given to us that we should be cautious about? And because so far no group has really addressed themselves to this is why we are living in an era of the rule of the conspirator, of conspiration theories, or the conspirator theorist. Okay? This is why you have all these conflicting messages that we get, because right now everybody has realized that the corporate media is no longer a source of truth, and so they are unconsciously looking for another one. So in conclusion, what I'd like to say is we definitely must try to be not too susceptible to the dunya. You know, we must be very careful as to why we do something. Why we do something. You know, take for example, love. You know, do we love somebody because of who they are and the relationship we have? Or do I love somebody because of the pleasure that relationship with that person gives to me? You know, the boost that it requires my ego to be fulfilled. You know, that type of thing. You have to be very, very careful, because this is how we see the world psychologically, you know, and this is how we respond to it, how we see others. So I think you have to be very, very careful about that, and to be able to use this world as it was made for us to be used, as a place to overcome our trials, to overcome the natural difficulties that we call evils, that are a challenge for us. If we didn't have sicknesses, we would not have medicine. You know, if we didn't have the challenge of huge distances to cross, we would not have created the domesticated horses, or created cars, or airplanes, or anything like that. You know, we have to be able to rise to the occasion to fulfill our humanity, and most importantly, overcome our negative ways of looking at the world, and looking at the world in a more positive sense. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Thank you so much, Sheikh, for that lecture. We have a bit of time for Q&A. So if you have any questions, please either message me directly, you can write them in the Zoom chat, or even if you're listening on YouTube, you can write them in the YouTube chat as well. I think we have one question from Atifa already. So Atifa, if you want to unmute yourself and you can ask directly.
Assalamu alaikum. Thank you so much for that lecture. I have a question on the nature of evil, and how do we reconcile the absolute goodness of God with the fact that He has allowed human beings to be evil in this way, in this objective way? Because I can understand evil as privation of good, or like the lack of good, in nature. But I struggle to understand how Allah can allow us to be evil while maintaining that goodness.
Allow, in a sense, means to let a person be free to do what they would like to do. You know, and I think it's true. I think Allah actually allows us to do evil. You know, of course, the limitations of our evil are in his hands, in his control. But He allows a human being to go, if we're going to call evil, the evil actions of a human being, as basically the deliberate actions against God's command. Okay? Allah has allowed this to happen because it would not have defined us as human beings. You know, if Allah forced us to do good, we would not be worthy of being called human beings. Allah created us for one thing, to worship Him, and worship Him in love. You don't just worship Him in fear, worship Him in love. And for us to do this, to be able to truly love, we should be able to choose. And so the other choice that opposes the choice for God is the love of our own selves. And that's where our desires come from. You know, true love is loving the other more than yourself. This is true love. True love is giving. Okay? True love is giving. You know, a good friend of mine told me a very interesting piece of logic. I found it so beautiful. You know, he said, you know, when you do good deeds and so forth, you know, Allah loves you. You know, now, who has, in fact, a greater influence on the relationship? When you have a lover and the object of that lover, the beloved, who has a greater influence on that relationship? And the greater one is the beloved. You know, Aisha sometimes criticized the Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam by saying to him, "Your God always rushes to fulfill whatever you ask of Him." This is how Allah is. Allah loves. We can't love God the way God loves us. And just check that out. If God loves us more than we can love Him, we are the beloved, and He is the lover. You see? And for us to love somebody, you have to make a choice. And the choice is basically this. You know, I love me, and this is expressed in my loving of my appetites and loving of my relationship with the dunya, or I love you. You know, when I get up to stand into prayer for the Dhuhr or Dhuhrain prayers, and you know, I stand in front of you, and all I'm thinking about is my essay. You know, or all I'm thinking about is what I'm going to do after I finish praying to you. I don't love you, because if I love you, I would be completely consumed by you. You see? So I think this is what really explains it, that, you know, human beings are allowed to do evil because they are allowed to choose whether they love God or not. And when that person does evil, that now becomes part of the environmental test for the human beings that are affected by that evil. What are you going to do about that evil? What are you going to do about those systems, for example, that create evil? You know, and if you don't do anything, the evil is going to get worse. That's just the law of nature, the law of reality. And He puts us here to deal with that.
So much. We have another question that's just come in. So it says, is the below rightly attributed to Imam Ali? And if so, what does he mean by it? So life is but the shadow of a cloud, the dream of a sleeper.
Could you say it again, please? Because your sound is not as great as my sound to myself. I have no idea how I'm sounding over there.
Sorry. Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you. Yeah.
Okay. So it says, is this rightly attributed to Imam Ali? And if so, what does he mean by it? So life is but the shadow of a cloud, the dream of a sleeper.
Well, I don't know. I don't know if I can. I don't know. But it's a beautiful statement. Life is but the shadow of a cloud. Life is something fleeting. Clouds fleet. Clouds float across the sky, and you never see another cloud in the same pattern again. Our lives are like this. Okay. And what's the other part about the sleeper?
And the dream of a sleeper.
The dream of a sleeper. The Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, human beings in this world are asleep, and it is only in death that you awake. You know, another hadith by the Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam where he says, hellfire is surrounded by pleasures, and heaven is surrounded by difficulties. You know, look at the society in which we live. All they do is market pleasure. They hide difficulties. You see, we use cell phones that should be 100 times more expensive. We use cell phones that could be 100 or 1,000 times more expensive. But it is because we exploit people in places like the Congo, which has one of the largest productions of raw coltan, which is essential for the operation of cell phones and things like this. You know, because, for example, Nike is produced in subhuman conditions in parts of the third world, we live a very comfortable life. You know, we have to be able to fight that. And the only way we can fight that is to wake up from our sleep, wake up from our sleep of luxury, wake up from our sleep of being so assured that you would be able to afford your rent or your mortgage, you know, and that's about it. You have to wake up from that type of stuff.
Thank you so much again. Just another question that's just come in also. How can we work on removing our ego from our actions, our beliefs, and our love? So how can we work on removing our ego?
Yeah, I think the best way to fight your ego is to act in contrary to it, to act contrary to it. The ego wants to own. The ego wants to own. Okay? The ego wants to possess, because the ego is about growth and dominance, right? The ego is about that. Okay? And so the ego feeds on things. And so you have to deny the food by going contrary to it. So, in other words, then, one of the things or the most important thing that destroys the ego is charity, is giving, okay, is humility. For example, your ego might be such that you went to Islamic college and you got a PhD and you think you know a whole lot more than anybody else. You wrote a thesis on Muawiyah, let's say, right? You wrote a thesis on Muawiyah, and some people are talking about Muawiyah and you can't wait to open your mouth because you know more than anybody else. All right? No, you shut up and listen to people. Okay? That is being contradictory to the ego. If you're stingy about things, you don't like to give. You don't like to give because the shaitan is scaring the living daylights out of you, thinking that you're going to impoverish yourself. You give. Right? You give with justice. This is fighting the ego. Just be aware that the ego is always self-aggrandizing. And you have to ask yourself, why am I doing this? Why am I saying this? Why did I agree to participate in whatever? Why? And you have to honestly ask yourself, is it because it's for self-aggrandizement? Is it for me to big up myself? Is it because I need to do this because it makes me feel better about myself? Okay, that's the ego. That's the best thing to do about the ego. Ramadan is coming, you know, and Ramadan is a form of asceticism. You know, asceticism is a very, very harsh, but also very efficient way of silencing the ego, where you don't own things, you know, where you go without for long periods of time. You know, this is another very important way, and Ramadan teaches us about doing that.
Thank you so much again. And I think that is all we have time for today. So thank you so much for joining.
You're welcome.
Yeah, very appreciated. And
Nice to be here.
And inshallah, we'll see you again soon.
Inshallah. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.
And Eid Mubarak to all of you.
And to you.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Wa alaikum salam. Next, we have Dua recited by Ahmed Musawi. So I'll pass on to Ahmed to start the Dua.
Assalamu alaikum everyone, and Eid Mubarak to you. And inshallah, soon after Boris Johnson announced, inshallah we can meet maybe July or August in Mahfal again. I'm going to recite Du'akum inshallah. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد اللهم إني أسألك برحمتك التي وسعت كل شيء وبقوتك التي قهرت بها كل شيء وخضع لها كل شيء وذل لها كل شيء وبجبروتك التي غلبت بها كل شيء وبعزتك التي لا يقوم لها شيء وبعظمتك التي ملأت كل شيء وبسلطانك الذي على كل شيء وبوجهك الباقي بعد فناء كل شيء وبأسمائك التي ملأت أركان كل شيء وبعلمك الذي أحاط بكل شيء وبنور وجهك الذي أضاء له كل شيء يا نور يا قدوس يا أول الأولين ويا آخر الآخرين اللهم اغفر لي الذنوب التي تهتك العصام اللهم اغفر لي الذنوب التي تنزل النقام اللهم اغفر لي الذنوب التي تغير النعم اللهم اغفر لي الذنوب التي تحبس الدعاء اللهم اغفر لي الذنوب التي تنزل البلاء اللهم اغفر لي كل ذنب أذنبته وكل خطيئة أخطأتها اللهم إني أتقرب إليك بذكرك وأستشفع بك إلى نفسك وأسألك بجودك أن تدنيني من قربك وأن توزعني شكرك وأن تلهمني ذكرك اللهم إني أسألك سؤال خاضع متذلل خاشع أن تسامحني وترحمني وتجعلني بقسمك راضيا قانعا وفي جميع الأحوال متواضعا اللهم وأسألك سؤال من اشتدت فاقته وأنزل بك عند الشدائد حاجته وعظم فيما عندك رغبته. اللهم عظم سلطانك وعلى مكانك وخفي مكرك وظهر أمرك وغلب قهرك وجرت قدرتك ولا يمكن الفرار من حكومتك. اللهم لا أجد لذنوبي غافرا ولا لقبائحي ساترا ولا لشيء من عملي القبيح بالحسن مبدلا غيرك. لا إله إلا أنت سبحانك وبحمدك ظلمت نفسي ظلمت نفسي ظلمت نفسي وتجرأت بجهلي وسكنت إلى قديم ذكرك لي ومنك علي. اللهم مولاي كم من قبيح سترته وكم من فادح من البلاء أقلته وكم من عثار وقيته وكم من مكروه دفعته وكم من ثناء جميل لست أهلا له نشرته. اللهم عظم بلائي وأفرط بي سوء حالي وقصرت بي آمالي وقعدت بي أغلالي وحبسني عن نفعي بعد آمالي وخدعتني الدنيا بغرورها ونفسي بجنايتها. ومطالي يا سيدي فأسألك بعزتك ألا يحجب عنك دعائي سوء عملي وفعلي ولا تفضحني بخفي ما اطلعت عليه من سري ولا تعاجلني بالعقوبة على ما عملته في خلواتي من سوء فعلي وإساءته ودوام تفريطي وجهالتي وكثرة شهواتي وغفلتي. وكن اللهم بعزتك لي في كل الأحوال رؤوفا وعلي في جميع الأمور عطوفا. إلهي وربي من لي غيرك أسأله كشف ضري والنظر في أمري. إلهي ومولاي أجريت علي حكما اتبعت فيه هوى نفسي ولم أحترس فيه من تزيين عدوي فغرني بما أهوى وأسعده على ذلك القضاء فتجاوزت بما جرى علي من ذلك بعض حدودك وخالفت بعض أوامرك فلك الحجة علي في جميع ذلك ولا حجة لي فيما جرى علي فيه قضاؤك وألزمني حكمك وبلاؤك. وقد أتيتك يا إلهي بعد تقصيري وإسرافي على نفسي معتذرا نادما منكسرا مستقيلا مستغفرا منيبا مقرا مذعنا معترفا لا أجد مفرا مما كان مني ولا مفزعا أتوجه إليه في أمري غير قبولك عذري وإدخالك إياي في سعة من رحمتك اللهم فاقبل عذري وارحم شدة ضري وفكني من شدي وثاقي يا رب ارحم ضعف بدني ورقة جلدي ودقة عظمي يا من بدأ خلقي وذكري وتربيتي وبري وتوذيتي أبني لابتداء كرهك وسالفي برك بي يا إلهي وسيدي وربي أتراك معذبي بنارك بعد توحيدك وبعد ما انطوى عليه قلبي من معرفتك ولهج به لساني من ذكرك واعتقده ضميره من حبك وبعد صدق اعترافي ودعائي خاضعا لربوبيتك هيهات أنت أكرم من أن تضيع من ربيته أو تبعد من أدنيته أو تشرد من آويته أو تسلم إلى البلاء من كفيته ورحمته وليت شعري يا سيدي وإلهي ومولاي أتسلط النار على وجوه خرت لعظمتك ساجدة وعلى ألسن نطقت بتوحيدك صادقة وبشكرك مادحة وعلى قلوب اعترفت بإلهيتك محققة وعلى ضمائر حوت من العلم بك حتى صارت خاشعة وعلى جوارح سعت إلى أوطان تعبدك طائعة وأشارت باستغفارك مذعنا ما هكذا الظن بك ولا أخبرنا بفضلك عنك يا كريم يا رب يا ربي وأنت تعلم ضعفي عن قليل من بلاء الدنيا وعقوباتها وما يجري فيها من المكاره على أهلها على أن ذلك بلاء ومكروه قليل مكثوه يسير بقاؤه قصير مدته فكيف احتمالي لبلاء الآخرة وجليل وقوع المكاره فيها وهو بلاء تطول مدته ويدوم مقامه ولا يخفف عن أهله لأنه لا يكون إلا عن غضبك وانتقامك وسخطك وهذا ما لا تقوم له السماوات والأرض يا سيدي فكيف بي وأنا عبدك الضعيف الذليل الحقير المسكين المستكين يا إلهي وربي وسيدي ومولاي لأي الأمور إليك أشكو ولما منها أضج وأبكي لأليم العذاب وشدته أم لطول البلاء ومدته؟ فلئن صيرتني للعقوبات مع أعدائك وجمعت بيني وبين أهل بلائك وفرقت بيني وبين أحبائك وأوليائك، فهبني يا إلهي وسيدي ومولاي وربي، صبرت على عذابك فكيف أصبر على فراقك، وهبني صبرت على حر نارك فكيف أصبر عن النظر إلى كرامتك. أم كيف أسكن في النار ورجائي عفوك، فبعزتك يا سيدي ومولاي أقسم صادقا لئن تركتني ناطقا لأضجن إليك بين أهلها ضجيج الآملين ولأصرخن إليك صراخ المستصرخين ولأبكين عليك بكاء الفاقدين ولأنادينك أين كنت يا ولي المؤمنين، يا غاية آمال العارفين، يا غياث المستغيثين، يا حبيب قلوب الصادقين، ويا إله العالمين. أفتراك سبحانك يا إلهي وبحمدك تسمع فيها صوت عبد مسلم سجن فيها بمخالفته وذاق طعم عذابها بمعصيته وحبس بين أطباقها بجرمه وجريرته، وهو يضج إليك ضجيج مؤمل لرحمتك ويناديك بلسان أهل توحيدك ويتوسل إليك بربوبيتك. يا مولاي فكيف يبقى في العذاب وهو يرجو ما سلف من حلمك، أم كيف تؤلمه النار وهو يأمل فضلك ورحمتك، أم كيف يحرقه لهيبها وأنت تسمع صوته وترى مكانه، أم كيف يشتمل عليه زفيرها وأنت تعلم ضعفه، أم كيف يتقلقل بين أطباقها وأنت تعلم صدقه، أم كيف تزجره زبانيتها وهو يناديك يا ربه، أم كيف يرجو فضلك في عتقه منها فتتركه فيها. هيهات ما ذلك الظن بك ولا المعروف من فضلك ولا مشبه لما عاملت به الموحدين من برك وإحسانك، فباليقين أقطع لولا ما حكمت به من تعذيب جاحديك وقضيت به من إخلاد معانديك لجعلت النار كلها بردا وسلاما وما كان لأحد فيها مقرا ولا مقاما، لكنك تقدست أسماؤك أقسمت أن تملأها من الكافرين من الجنة والناس أجمعين وأن تخلد فيها المعاندين وأنت جل ثناؤك قلت مبتدئا وتطولت بالإنعام متكرما أفمن كان مؤمنا كمن كان فاسقا لا يستوون إلهي وسيدي فأسألك بالقدرة التي قدرتها وبالقضية التي حتمتها وحكمتها وغلبت من عليه أجريتها أن تهب لي في هذه الليلة وفي هذه الساعة كل جرم أجرمته وكل ذنب أذنبته وكل قبيح أسررته وكل جهل عملته كتمته أو أعلنته أخفيته أو أظهرته وكل سيئة أمرت بإثباتها الكرام الكاتبين الذين وكلتهم بحفظ ما يكون مني وجعلتهم شهودا علي مع جوارحي وكنت أنت الرقيب علي من ورائهم والشاهد لما خفي عنهم وبرحمتك أخفيته وبفضلك سترته وأن توفر حظي من كل خير تنزله أو إحسان تفضله أو بر تنشره أو رزق تبسطه أو ذنب تغفره أو خطأ تستره يا ربي يا ربي يا رب يا إلهي وسيدي ومولاي ومالك رقي يا من بيده ناصيتي يا عليما بضري ومسكنتي يا خبيرا بفقري وفاقتي يا ربي يا ربي يا رب أسألك بحقك وقدسك وأعظم صفاتك وأسمائك أن تجعل أوقاتي في الليل والنهار بذكرك معمورا وبخدمتك موصولا وأعمالي عندك مقبولا حتى تكون أعمالي وأورادي كلها وردا واحدا وحالي في خدمتك سرمدا يا سيدي يا من عليه معولي يا من إليه شكوت أحوالي يا ربي يا ربي يا رب قوي على خدمتك جوارحي واشدد على العزيمة جوانحي وهب لي الجد في خشيتك والدوام في الاتصال بخدمتك حتى أسرح إليك في ميادين السابقين وأسرع إليك في المبادرين وأشتاق إليك إلى قربك في المشتاقين وأدنو منك دنو المخلصين وأخافك مخافة الموقنين وأجتمع في جوارك مع المؤمنين اللهم ومن أرادني بسوء فأرد ومن كادني فكيد واجعلني من أحسن عبيدك نصيبا عندك وأقربهم منزلة منك وأخصهم زلفة لديك، فإنه لا ينال ذلك إلا بفضلك، وجد لي بجودك وعطف عليها بمجدك، واحفظني برحمتك، واجعل لساني بذكرك لهجا وقلبي بحبك متيما، ومنا علي بحسن إجابتك، وأقلني عثرتي واغفر زلتي، فإنك قضيت على عبادك بعبادتك وأمرتهم بدعائك وضمنت لهم الإجابة، فإليك يا ربي نصبت وجهي وإليك يا ربي مددت يدي، فبعزتك استجب لي دعائي وبلغني مناي، ولا تقطع من فضلك رجائي، واكفني شر الجن والإنس من أعدائي، يا سريع الرضا يا سريع الرضا، اغفر لمن لا يملك إلا الدعاء، فإنك فعال لما تشاء، يا من اسمه دواء وذكره شفاء وطاعته غنى، ارحم من رأس ماله الرجاء وسلاحه البكاء، يا سابغ النعم يا دافع النقام، يا نور المستوحشين في الظلام، يا عالما لا يعلم، صل على محمد وآل محمد، وافعل بي ما أنت أهله، وصلى الله على رسوله والأئمة الميامين من آله وسلم تسليما كثيرا.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. أحسنت.
Thank you so much, Ahmed, for that beautiful recitation. We've just been requested to recite a Surah Fatiha for Ali Raza Kanani, who was buried today, the son of Hussein Ali Habib and nephew of Munir Alalji. So can we recite Surah Fatiha for him and for all marhumin? Okay, inshallah, we will now have ziyarah.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. السلام عليك يا سيدي يا مولاي يا رسول الله. السلام عليك يا سيدي يا مولاي يا نبي الله. السلام عليك يا سيدي يا مولاي يا محمد بن عبد الله ورحمة الله وبركاته. السلام عليك يا رسول الله وعلى ابن عمك أمير المؤمنين علي بن أبي طالب وصي رسول رب العالمين. السلام عليك يا رسول الله وعلى بضعتك الصديقة الطاهرة فاطمة الزهراء سيدة نساء العالمين. السلام عليك يا رسول الله وعلى زوجتك الوفية الغراء خديجة الكبرى أم أم المؤمنين. السلام عليك يا رسول الله وعلى ولديك الإمامين الحسن والحسين سيدي شباب أهل الجنة. السلام عليك يا رسول الله وعلى أئمة المسلمين من ذرية ولدك الحسين علي السجاد ومحمد الباقر وجعفر الصادق وموسى الكاظم وعلي الرضا ومحمد الجواد وعلي الهادي والحسن العسكري والحجة ابن الحسن المهدي. السلام عليك يا صاحب الزمان، عجل الله تعالى فرجك وسهل الله مخرجك وظهورك وجعلنا الله من أنصارك وأعوانك والمستشهدين بين يديك. السلام عليكم جميعا ورحمة الله وبركاته.